Good morning, everyone. We had to show you that beautiful flower, of course, that one of our friends on YouTube, thank you, Drew, has uses as her little icon thing. And beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much, dear one, for the gift. Beautiful. I love it. People cannot miss that baby. So a good morning to you all. I hope this finds you well. Those of you that are going through your problems, hang in there. Work through them. Get on the other side of this, and you'll be so happy you did. And I got some things to go over with you. We're going to start on down the line here so I can get as much covered as possible. Jennifer was telling me there was some controversy or something. I forgot to ask her about that while I was away. Something about paper or something, or waste or something. Well, excuse me, but all this paper and all this is being recycled. Matter of fact, I'm going to recycle this whole library of mine and Dr. Jensen's library. We're going to turn it all back to nature and use it in another way. Of course, it'd be nice to set these libraries up and help people have access to them, but we wanted a big healing center and have a big library where you could relax and, pick up reading material. But, money, money, money. And seems like the way things are going, who knows what's going to be happening here. So I want to go over some things. Again, I love you all. Happy you're tuned in here, and I hope you're doing well. So many of you are kicking the old Butterooski, but we sure have cycles. There's no question about it. Some important stuff to kind of get to here. And this one is from an individual that must have, again, your post must be in here somewhere, honey, so I apologize again on that. This is Bo. Hey, Bo, sweetheart. This is an insomnia case where she's tried everything, the California poppy, valerian to relax and the like. When you're having a tough time getting up to the pineal gland, it just shows you, and I'm going to kind of connect this to another case right here to kind of tie this in. And this one I got over the weekend here, I guess, or last part of last week. But I think that once you guys, those of you that are going to be the healers out there, which I take most of you will, you have to understand that we're facing a very serious job ahead of us. We don't have the time to play around like governments and let time just take its course and stuff like this. I just feel things are speeding up, and change is essential, and that's not today, that's yesterday type of thing. So anyway, it is what it's going to be. But detoxification is really at hand here and what's needed. And I want to kind of, before I finish you, Bo, I want to go over here to Clint. And this one is a real important one. And I want to tie these in together, okay? This is an avid YouTube watcher. 9 weeks ago, his wife, Rebecca, gave birth to an amazing son. About the 5th month, she experienced some numbness. And the midwife, of course, assumed it was positional for the child, which is obvious. That could be assumed for sure. And so after the son was born, her numbness didn't go away. So the MDs thought it might be MS, and so they did a CAT scan, of course, or an MRI, I guess, excuse me. And the surgeon found a tumor. Brain tumor, a glioma, 2 centimeter by 2 centimeters sitting on the bottom of her brain, pushing on her spinal column. Now that's in the cerebellum area, which can really affect her equilibrium and dizziness in time. There at the top of the surgery list, Rebecca, she's only 30 years old, and this has been my point here. 30-year-old people are facing big-time kidney and adrenals. Can you imagine what the younger people are facing? Twice as bad. This is why I'm shouting and screaming from the mountaintops. We've got to turn this around if humans want to continue to inhabit this planet and experience creation at this level. If not, there's plenty of levels to experience. And again, one has to understand this level is really just a play field for bodies that are made of atoms, and the consciousness, of course, is always going to be you. Now get this. This person hasn't been eating a bad diet. We eat mostly veggies and fruits. We juice and make smoothies, eat a little seafood once a week, no big deal there. No dairy, no meat. Well, I consider seafood meat. We eat rice and pasta once or twice a week. Rebecca did yoga before and during pregnancy. She doesn't drink or smoke. So what's up? And this has been my point, and I'm going to tie this to you too, Bo. She's living a pretty good, perfect diet, actually, for humans. Even with a little seafood, a little pasta here and there, so what? I mean, that's really a perfect diet where you're eating predominantly fruits and vegetables. You have a little seafood here, you have a little pasta there, so what? I mean, you're going to get to that, most of you. For those that can take raw and live on it 20 years, God bless. But out of all of you, maybe one of you will end up really doing that. What seems real in the moment doesn't 10 years, 20 years. I mean, there's a lot of time, and this is a fast-paced experiencing planet. It isn't like you get to sit back and be the same old person throughout the next 10, 20 years. You're going to have your butts kicked emotionally and every other way with relationships. I mean, this is rip and pull now in creation because spirituality must grow to keep in check with the negative forces. Governments and all these people have lined themselves with these negative forces, and that's what they're doing, taking more freedom. We shouldn't even have this in America, have this Supreme Court case today. And if the Supreme Court, and in reviewing this Supreme Court case on the health care, it was also shown that the Supreme Court upheld the government's right to compensate a guy's wheat field or something because it could affect interstate commerce. Or the lady that grew marijuana in California, where it was legal for her to. But the Supreme Court said that the government has jurisdiction over that because it could affect interstate commerce. Now, these Supreme Court judges, they're so old, they need to go, like the Native Americans, go out in the woods and just let themselves take off because you're ruining America. I don't know where they get these jokers on the Supreme Court. I always thought Rogers was a real smart cookie. But when you allow the federal government, and that's why the Constitution was put together, when you allow any government to start taking your rights, they'll take more, they'll take more, they'll take more, and they'll take more. So if the Supreme Court allows this in this country, for those freedom lovers, we're either going to enter a revolution here, or we're going to move out of the country and let it just fall, because it'll end up being a very communistic country where it's going right now, where you think you have rights and you don't. And that's the scary part of most people that say, yeah, go ahead and pass these right restrictive laws. Yeah. They don't understand that they're the ones that also get kicked. Anyway. Sorry for that little ramping, but this is just the way it is, I guess. But anyway, this shows you the power or the need to look at detoxification, deeper work. She was following basically a perfect diet. And look what happened. She developed a tumor. That means she was born with kidneys and adrenal weakness. She was not filtering probably since she was a little girl. A little bit of here, a little bit there, things build up. And so this is a good case to show you 30-year-olds are in trouble with your kidney and adrenals genetically. And I've said this all along this YouTube site, and this is just more confirmation that we're right spot on with our thinking, and that it's vital that we kick it up. So in her case, and the same thing with Bo's case here, she's not getting up into that, because when you can't sleep, that's irritation. Unless you're trying to fall asleep and have an out-of-body experience, when you're trying to put the body to sleep, but you're trying to take off. Since you're the consciousness to it, you can stay there. I spent months restless awake like that because I was trying to fall asleep consciously. That sounds radical, but you have to realize that you as soul don't sleep. There's no sleeping for you because there's no need to. You are always aware. it is the bodies that must rest to re-plug in, because soul is so powerful that you could literally burn out your mind, you can literally burn out your emotions, as some of you do, and literally burn your physical body out through the power of you, because you can keep on going. It's the bodies that restrict your energy, and sometimes it does to change you. So the way God works everything, it's so like the wheels of a clock that it's hard to judge. And of course you shouldn't anyway, but you kind of, the mind wants to kind of grasp a little thing, but really the power of you is so powerful. And the same thing with Bo, very spiritual woman, all of you guys, and so, but with that said, on the physical side there, lymph acidosis equals irritation, and in the case of the pineal can create, the inability to sleep, and then the brain, and then the restless legs, the lower back. I mean, just all ties in there with the lymph. So, Clint, your wife has to start a grape fast yesterday. Now, start a fast, big time. You don't need to wait into it. You're already doing fairly good with your diet. Jump into a grape fast. 40-day grape fast, 30-day grape fast. Hit this fast. You really, I know you're going to go for surgery. You can tell with the freaking out here. But keep in mind that she can grow it right back. No matter what they tell you, and you know this already, Clint, you have to change the reason and the why she got it. This hasn't to do what she's eating as much as what she's producing. At the cell level, you're always producing waste, acid waste at the cell level. These wastes must get out of there. This type of diet is just a great diet for people to live healthy and happy on, but it is not a good diet to regenerate kidneys and move lymph, get the adrenals regenerated. We're into this level of thinking, guys. That's why this YouTube site, in my opinion, is so vital for the world and for you guys as the world's next greatest healers, because this is what we have to understand, is what we are seriously up against. You can't play around with this when you have the tumors and things like this. She's already on a good diet, and I've seen this with raw fooders coming here on raw foods, still with the cancers and stuff. It isn't enough anymore to wake up in your 20s and 30s and 40s and just eat a better diet. It's not enough. We got to get to the higher regenerative levels to get those kidneys and those adrenals up and waking up out of their genetic sleeping, so to speak, and think about her babies. She's got some young babies here that are really going to have some serious kidney and adrenal weaknesses, and this is why I'm doing this YouTube. Another reason is to get this awareness out of there. Wait before you have kids. Wait, spend some time, get your health in order, and then have kids. She didn't even know she had any health problems. This is another big problem. That's why check your blood pressures for low blood pressures. Check your basal temperatures under your arm for low body temperatures. Use these little bitty, apparently insignificant, but can be very significant techniques or ways of looking at how your body's doing. Watch this, because when you're talking about the giant lymph system, wow, 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 wow. And Bo, you're in the same issue here. Moving lymph is a trip. And remember, cleaning up the gut is vital to getting into the brain, so you've got to go after the gut. And the problem is, what we're having is hard financial times, and we need herbs. And so I don't know what to tell you. We've got manufacturing, we've got all these issues in the production of herbal formulas. It isn't like we're running out into the woods, picking the herbs, and giving them to you. No. When you look at this massive move to get these herbal formulas to you, it's all the way down to the farmers and the pickers. You have a lot of people that pick wildcraft because it's a money maker. I'm from Indiana. We pick ginseng because it's a money maker. So we have those people that go out and wildcraft, mountain guys that go out and wildcraft, and gals that go out and wildcraft. However, we're going to end up wildcrafting the planet. This is the problem, is that we need so much. Talk about things we need to look at, ways we need to employ and to grow and to be entrepreneurs, is getting into the herbal side, because the more we create a demand, the more there'll be a need for farmers and people to start taking on herbal growth. And that's what we need, is to get that going. But you really, and this is for Bo, this is you too, but this is mainly at Rebecca here, honey. You got to get into the stomach and bowel number whatever. I would do lymphatic 1 capsules. If it was me, I would do three times a day. I would do lymph node 2. I would do kidney number 1, both capsules and tinctures. Do a parasite formula. I mean, hit an adrenal glandular. I mean, really hit this hard. To move that lymph and go on a fast. Do whatever you have to do to drain the head. Bo, do some ear candles maybe, honey. See if you can open that, and that would be good for Rebecca too. Any way to open this stagnation here, any way to open that up, and candling the ears is just one little avenue to do that. So this is a real important message. I hope that I'm going to tell Chris to post this right up right away, and then we'll give you a call, Rebecca, because that's serious there. Thank you, 888 VM. Appreciate that. We try to speak the truth. I tell you, we have to stand strong. Things are getting more negative with governments, more power and more control, and we have to stand up and be strong. The people. We are the people. This is a good example here. This is NYXS60. More worrying, a vocal anti-vaccine guy has just been jailed for fraud. Now, we have constitutional rights in this country. They're fading away. The Supreme Court finds the government has jurisdiction to force its people to buy health care. Then you can just wipe our Constitution with your you-know-what. Or on your you will what, because it means nothing, and we just have lost our country, and these guys all need to go to jail for it and spend some time and let them connect with God while they're in jail, and open up and come out real good people. That's what these people need. They're just people that are out of touch with the world, and they think these agendas, and we give the power to the government. You don't give power to any government. Minimal stuff. And this guy was jailed for fraud. Well, I don't know why he got fraud. He must have done something, because it couldn't be. You have free speech, at least in this country. Maybe another country will pick you up, and that. But this is the sadness about this. We have a right to disagree. We have a right to say, because we have medical doctors with books and tapes out against vaccines. So this guy had to do something else that to be arrested for fraud. It does make you sick, but if just talking against vaccines, I don't know. It's possible they conjured up this to shut him up. But you know what? Pharmaceutical companies, too late. You already created the fraud yourself. Pharmaceutical companies are guilty of fraud. CDC centers in this country are guilty of fraud. And a lot of medical doctors are guilty of fraud. Now, a lot of medical doctors are given wrong advice. They don't know. They've been lied to, so it's not their fault. A lot of, I go right back to the pharmaceutical companies and the power of the CDC centers. There's a lot that's going on there that people are uncovering. That's not my job. My job is to I'm a detoxification expert. I try to get you in that thinking. Just be aware, be aware. We have a very toxic world right now. And it just seems like people are lost in this. They can't seem to pull themselves out. I'm looking at Obama. He's in a stupor. He can't pull himself out. He doesn't know what to do in life. I mean, it's a horrible thing. Here's Spiritual Warrior 77. Here's RA. I have now, she's talking about the veggie caps. She gets a little stiffened up. It's interesting how sensitive you are with the veggie caps. Yes, you can open up those veggie caps and pour them into something. Absolutely, probably better anyway, because there's so much starch with them. I concur with that. So, any way we do something, it's difficult. I should put it all in a jar, shake it up, and take it out by the teaspoon. But so I'm going to get flack from that. I'm going to find flack for everybody has something against something, it seems like. And so there's always those people that are out there finding some fault against everything you're doing, and we're just trying to find the best delivery systems, the best way. I thought tincturing would be the best way. And then there's the alcohol issue, but you can't get away from that right now. I'm not into research anymore. That someone's going to have to come up with a better minstrum. Vinegar and glycerin, no way. You're just not going to get your product. You're throwing your money away, in my opinion. So bang for buck, power. Most of the herb, as much as you can. So we're doing, it's more difficult than what you think. But absolutely, you get rid of this RA, Spiritual Warrior 7-7. You do some fasting on some grapes. Really pull in those fruits and start detoxifying. I've said this before, in rheumatoid arthritis, which is RA, I have one person that their eyes did not have sulfur in it. One person that was diagnosed with RA that did not have sulfur in their eyes. So you could be up against a little mountain here with all the sulfur. If indeed you have sulfur in your eyes, take a look, get a real close-up mirror, shine a flashlight, see if you have sulfur in there. It doesn't matter, it just has to all come out. Watch your stools for orange stuff, but really start moving on that lymph system. Same type of protocols I recommend for everybody, because this is how you dig into the lymph system. This is how you get the kidneys and what we know. That's why I said it's hard, get this, it's hard enough with the herbs and the glandulars, let alone people bitching about the glandulars or this and that. Okay, it's hard enough. We live in a very tough times. We're growing animals for food. We're doing all these things. We're out of balance. But to pull ourselves back into balance isn't going to be easy. It's a big trip, and you have to first awaken to the fact that you're out of balance. And that's the problem with that, is we have so many Puritists and religionists and people that don't understand a higher view of creation and what is reality in the first place. That's the other kick. What is reality? Who is reality? What role do you play in reality? Is this really real? Is all this stuff reality? It might be to you in the moment when you're lost in the physical world, but when you unshackle and unchain yourself to this world and step back and start looking at some other worlds that exist, you start realizing how unreal this world is. Talk to most people that have had an out-of-body experience, even if they just saw a little light and felt the warmth and beauty, changed them forever. Just a little experience like that, let alone a conscious experience into a beautiful cities of jewels and light and higher consciousness. I mean, it's just amazing. And maybe the reason this world gets so negative is to shake you away from it, so you'll let go and free yourself. Because sometimes that's what you have to do. Because this is all just what we've created. This is just all already created. So in one way you can get mad at it, and in another way you have to laugh at it, because it is only as real as this world is to you as you make it. Because you are not from this world. You're not of this materiality. Your human body is. That's why I say that when you're at any of these levels, you have to use the dust of that level to fix that level. And thanks, Spiritual Warrior. Our staff, we try. I don't know. I think you guys get the gist. We're pretty straightforward, honest. And like I say, if you think I'm bad, just try to deal with some of the staff people if you make them mad. Jennifer in particular, because you have no idea what we've been through with so thousands and thousands of sick people for 40 years. It's been a long road. And so after a while, we get sensitive because of the amount of hours and the amount of help and worry and things that we put in trying to help our people. It's just, it's hard to explain to you what that's like to spend. And this is another thing, we're going to talk about this in class, is we're going to spend some time on being a healer and what this does mean to you, and the stresses of being a healer, and what you have to try to avoid being a healer and not get yourself involved in, because it's an amazing journey, but you are dealing right in people's sorrows, their sicknesses, their pains, and it's a whole nother breed. You've got to get out and get some outdoor sunlight and happiness to balance yourself out, because everything that comes to you is negative, sick, dying, and so you've got to have your R&R time, or have to learn how to be and channel the God force through you, and let that God force be part of that healing issue. Quick question: is it all right to water fast with weakened adrenals? Thank you. I appreciate that. Kid Raw 38, thank you, Mon. You know what? I mean, Dimitri was here and he was fasting, and of course you can tell Dimitri's a kidney adrenal person, little malabsorption probably, very thin fella, but super fella. But when we did your blood pressure, Dimitri, your blood sugar was what was it? 40 something, 41. That's not good. And so this is part of the problem, is with the weak adrenals on a fast, you could actually, people start fainting and passing out and everything else. And this isn't what this is about. This is about regaining the health and vitality of the body. But look at where we've come in our genetic weaknesses. We can't do what we used to. It was nothing just to take off on a water fast. Now people with weak adrenals fast, they start getting really lightheaded and low blood sugars, low blood pressures. And so I'm like with you, Kid Raw, it's a good question. I really think seriously that one needs to spend a month or two at getting their adrenals up, their lymph clean. I'd say 2 or 3 months maybe, and then do some serious water fasting. You're going to have more fun doing it. You're going to feel better doing it, and you're going to have helped your body get up to where it can handle a little bit. Some people are so weak, I just would not fast. It's just, I mean, you get more energy fasting, no question. Stopping the digestion of foods, but when we shift to fruits, we don't have that hard digestive need of the vegetables. So we can use more of those angstroms or magnetic energies of the fruits. Plus, they already come with 3,000 to 4,000 more magnetic angstroms of energy than vegetables. On top of that, with their ease of digestion, you can stack 3,000 or 4,000 angstroms on top of that over vegetables. So you're up there basically at the level humans are radiating at just by eating fruit. You're going to at least get that. But I can tell you, you're probably going to have a net of somewhere between 9,000 angstroms of magnetics with fruit, where you're going to only have maybe 5 with vegetables. I've had my energy lower just eating a salad, to where I felt like I wanted to fall asleep here, and I'm going, oh, it just, those people that are used to high consciousness of fruits and berries and melons have a hard time going to the vegetables. You'll find these little things as you get up there. The Funky Bobo's nuts. The Funky Bobo's nuts. What are your thoughts on parallel universes and the Big Bang Theory? If you have time, I would love to hear them. Hope life is good. Peace. Thanks to you, the Funky Bobo nuts. I gotta laugh at that. I mean, you got a pretty interesting icon there for sure. Pretty big carrot there. Probably this universe came in with an explosion. So what? If you look at it from a spiritual viewpoint, this is just the supreme being in thought. That's all this is the mind of the supreme being. Unfortunately, it's its negative side. Within the supreme being, you have all things. All things exist within the one. There's no question. So when you think the supreme being is all love and mercy and joy, think again. All things come out of the one. Even the negative comes out of the one. Positive and negative are just the opposite sides of the same coin. So one just happens to be real negative, one just happens to be real positive. You can go way out on the positive side and still never find God. I mean, there's a point where you have to collapse both of them into the now to get beyond creation. And then you realize that it was just nothing. It was the thought processes of the Supreme Being creating something it can have some fun with, something it can do. Because if you think about it, if you're all that exists, you're going to endlessly create things to play with. You're like a kid that has no brothers or sisters, and a world of endless toys. So that's God in action, in that. But when you get to the heart, it's just a whole, consciousness is just a whole nother level of ecstasy and joy and thrill, because it's you. And you've been away so long from you that it's just pure joy and ecstasy to be you again. It's amazing that the way that is. But yeah, these universalists could have come in with one big thought. This is Anna Maria 2979. Dr. Morse, would you please make a video on blood analysis? I'm going to do that. Yeah, I'm going to save it for the school for now, and we'll go over blood reports, and I'll show you how to read them for what we use out of them. A little insight there. We're not going to have massive biochemistry at this school. This school is about detoxification, but we're going to go over everything that I possibly can think of that as a practitioner that'll help you, and that you can use as tools, things to learn a little bit about. Just sometimes a little bit of knowledge in an area is all you need. You don't have to tear it apart, because we can't expect one person to know it all. There's no way. I didn't even go into essential oils because for me, they're real strong. I've got enough worry. Imagine me piling on to your herbal protocols, a bunch of essential oils, flower essences, a bunch of other stuff. You know, some of these naturopaths, when you leave their office, you've got a whole list, and none of it's worth a crap. Vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and you've got a whole laundry list of stuff. Digestive enzymes, probiotics, algae. There's just a whole list of things, and none of it's tissue specific, and none of it will detoxify the human body. So you just spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and people complain about me, but look at these naturopaths, and I can tell you, naturopaths in Washington, D.C., their initial appointments were $700 or $800. So people have always, my fees have always been extremely reasonable considering what we can do for you. I mean, most medical doctors an hour are probably, what, $7,300 basically, if you add $75 to $100 every 15 minutes. They're way up there. And my appointments are basically, I can do some half-hour appointments, but I don't like to. Mine's are hour to 2 hours, and I don't want to do appointments anymore in the first place. But I will do one on the video here, but we're gonna get really into this in the classwork when we take the test at what we should be looking and how we should interpret the results. Yeah, because one of the big things is your proteins are going to be a little low. Some of the stats. What would be interesting is to start running blood profiles on thousands of raw foodists to get some norms there, and especially after detoxification, to get some good norms of where creatinine would really be, where your bun would really be, which is your urea nitrogens, where your proteins would be, where basically where things would be in the normal ranges, because these normal ranges obviously are from very unhealthy people in most cases. Dr. Morse, my poor mother is anxiously awaiting your COPD video series. Do you still plan to do them? Well, let me say this. Let's talk about it right now, and then I'll do one on COPD in the lungs. Basically, I think I told you about an experience once where I was craving a chocolate malt, and I was craving it for about a month or so, and then I just caved in, and I went down to our mall here, and this has been probably 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and I went to this little ice cream place in the mall, and I said, do you make little baby malts for babies? And he said, looked at me kind of funny, and he said, well, yeah, and so I did. I got me a little baby chocolate malt. And I was drinking it while I was walking out of the mall to my truck, and I started getting a sore throat. So I knew I probably would from all the mucus from the ice cream crap. So I was getting a sore throat, so I threw the rest of it out, and I went home and got an apple and ate an apple. In about 5 minutes, big water mucus came up. No more sore throat. Now that's common. I've had that several times when I've cheated, and it kicked my little butt, and so I cleaned the mucus out. Had I not known that, and I called up a friend of mine, a medical doctor, and I said, hey man, I caught something while I was walking in the mall drinking my milkshake, but I was drinking a big one. And so he said, well, come over, I'll give you a little antibiotic, blah, 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 blah. And so I suppressed my body's ability to expectorate this mucus, because remember, antibiotics are major lymphatic suppressants. So I suppress my lymph system. Where did that mucus I created go then? Since I didn't put it out and I let it stay in, where did it go? The antibiotics pushed it deeper into my lymph system, my interstitial fluids. Well, that immediately creates a little bit of swelling, and noticeable initially. And so this mucus, the sputum, is starting to be shoved in the interstitial spaces around the cells. There's no other places to stick it except in the chambers. In the chambers then, and then I had another molt maybe a few days later. That one was pretty good. And maybe I had another one, every week. And then maybe I had my burgers with that, or whatever I have with that. And all this acid and mucus forming proteins and stuff. And every time my body goes, oh my God, I've got all this mucus that this food is causing, I'm having these cold and flu-like symptoms. In other words, I'm having symptoms that my body is trying to get rid of this mucus, but I'm not listening. I'm listening to medical doctors. So what I'm going to do is I'm suppressing, or even maybe naturopaths nowadays, who knows, sorry, it's a broad range of people that are stupid now with this sort of thinking. And instead of expectorating this mucus out, then I just kept taking antibiotics, and I didn't even let it run its course. Even my children, I stopped all their cold and flu-like symptoms. So I put mucus in, but I don't let it come out. Then it keeps shoving into the bronchial trunk. So from a sore throat, I would go into a little bronchitis. And then if I suppress that, then I go into a little pneumonia. And it's all mucus. Now, enter COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. And that starts with asthma, emphysema, and then full-fledged COPD. Those are the people wearing the little oxygen, about 2 liters, blah, 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 blah. Well, the problem is that all that mucus that was shoved interstitially now becomes hardened. Because the more mucus becomes acidic, which that's the spaces it's in, mixed with cell waste, then this becomes acidic. It's a lipid fluid initially to keep itself alkaline, but as it picks up all the acids from the cells and it joins this, it becomes acid mucus and hardened and thickened. Well, the difference between just pneumonia, if that's all it was, you would have just pneumonia, different levels of pneumonia. But when you enter asthma up, the COPDs, that has one other factor, and I've talked about this before in other videos, and that one other factor is neurological. Because here we are at the solar plexus, stomach, the center of the autonomic nervous system, the autonomic ganglia controlled by the adrenal glands. When the adrenals are down, low blood pressure is seen, low myelin sheath performance, even myelin sheath decay, and low neural performance. That makes it hard to take a deep breath. It's hard to breathe. And that is neurological on top of congestion. So you have two problems, congestion and the nervous system. Big issue here. So you have to go after that nervous system. You have to go after the adrenals in all COPD cases. Yes, you still have to clean up the mucus, and that's not fun because you're going to go back through the cold and flu-like symptoms, the bronchitises, and the pneumonias. You're going to go back through them. There's no way to stop that because all that mucus that you never let come out, you suddenly are awakened to the fact, no one told me. No one told me either. And so now we're telling you, oh, this stuff's got to come out. So again, that's why I do applaud the pharmaceutical company that came out with Mucinex. I do applaud that. I have to tell you that now somebody's starting to think. And that's where we have to start looking at. No harmful chemicals, but expectorants and things that truly work. And they're going to pull themselves back into botanical medicine, I'm going to tell you, because it is unreal what's going in pharmacology out there. It's just not even, man's just got numb. He doesn't see a remedy. Well, we're going to give him a remedy, aren't we? So, that COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. I would do lungs number 2. I would drink 3 lung tea. On top of that, I'd go after my lymph system. I'd go just like the protocol. I'd take kidney number 1 liquid. I'd take kidney number 1 capsules, maybe 2-3 times a day. I think it'd be good for me. I would take lymphatic 1 capsules that clean up my bowels and allow this to clean with it. Yeah, take maybe 3 times a day on that one. Do another lymphatic, maybe 4, or lymph nodes 2 with that. Parasite M just to clean out, you know, the pneumococcus, you know, that kind of crap. Remember, in pneumonia type cases, pneumococcus is only present in 60% of the time, at least 40% of the cases. No pneumococcus present. Interesting. But anyway, it's all about the mucus. It's all about your body's immune/lymphatic system and its defense against acids for you. And the result of that, and we call that sputum or mucus. That's why Arnold Ehret's mucus diet healing system. All he saw was mucus whenever he detoxified people. Well, guess what? That's what we're talking to you about. See mucus. Well, where does this mucus come from? It's your lymph systems, not your blood. It's your lymph system. Well, what is that lymph system? That's your main immune system. That's your protection. Your blood isn't so much your protection, it's your healers. So just keep that in mind, COPD. I hope I covered that enough for you there, my dear. But detoxify yourself. You're going to have to clean out the lungs. The sinuses are going to come. But at the same time, there's a neurological component. You can take the new brain and nerve formula to help to support that nervous system. Get your adrenals up. Big time. You probably have some high blood pressure. Get the kidneys cleaned out. Work on all that. Lately I've been waking up with swollen fingers. Ooh, I cannot put my ring on my finger in the morning and I can feel stiffness in my fingers. Well, that's your lymph system and you're holding a little water here. Now you could hold water during detoxification, especially the more acidic you are. Some people actually gain weight during the initial phases of detoxification. Why? Because they're so acidic and the body's having this edemic experience for a form of balance and hydration. And it's common. I see this all the time, so that's probably what's up. Think of monthly periods when you're having estrogen spikes, and that's acidic hit on the human body, you see a little edema. And you can get a little edema, but this kind of edema is highly suggestive of major lymph stagnation, kidney and adrenal weakness. So that's I would be getting a little more involved with that. Do you have any ideas why last 10 days my health isn't optimal? I have been sneezing, coughing. Perfect. Perfect. That's just what you want. You want sneezing and coughing.
Little problem.
Little problem?
Brenda needs you to go pick her up. She locked herself out of the house and her keys are in there.
She locked herself out of the house and I gotta go. Okay. Well, okay. Let me cut this. We'll just make her walk to work, right? Not bad. I didn't say that. Don't say anything like that. I don't want to lose my head this morning. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll finish this up and I'll get Chris to put this on because this is addressing some important issues here. I got to run. Somebody locked themselves out of the house, so I got to go get them. So I love you guys. I'm going to give this to Chris and see if we can't get this posted straight away for you. Brain tumor. Real important. Okay. Love you all. We'll see you soon. Apologize I couldn't get more to this, but doo-doo happens.